What is up, everybody? My name is Staff Sergeant Cole with the Indiana Army National Guard. Sergeant Boyd is here, but he just walked out because he didn't want to be on the live stream. Today we're here. We were supposed to talk with Staff Sergeant Chung and talk about Mortars. However, he had to cancel, but this is what we're going to be talking about on Monday at 1 p.m. We're going to have him come back. We're going to talk a little bit about Mortars. So this just shows a little bit about what the Mortars are, what they do. Pretty much they are sending explosives downrange. So we'll have him here on Monday to talk about that at 1 p.m. But to fill in the space, we're actually going to talk to Staff Sergeant Holdeman about CBRN and his experience in the National Guard and everything. So we're going to jump in and go right along with that here now. So let's talk about Staff Sergeant Holdeman right here. Go ahead and introduce yourself, even though I just did.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Staff Sergeant Holdeman. I'm with the Indiana Army National Guard. I've been in it about 12 years now. The first 6 of my years, I was actually in the Army Reserves with the 855th Quartermaster Company, serving as their CBRN NCO. We're going to talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. We're going to show a video to kind of talk about or show you what it is CBRN NCOs do and what the Chemical Corps is about.
All right, so when did you join? I don't know if you said that, but...
So I joined in 2008. I was actually a junior in high school. I was going to Washington High School. A recruiter came in during my woodshop class, started talking about the military, and for me, I have a family history in the military, so I was ready to join right then and there. Met with recruiters, went down to MEPS. A lot of people ask why I joined or why I chose the CBRN MOS, which is Chemical, Biological, Radiological, and Nuclear Specialist. No, it's not because I like chemistry. I did not do well in chemistry in high school. When I sat down with the guidance counselors, they were talking about jobs, and when they said that one, I thought, hey, that really sounds awesome. That's kind of what I want to do. When I enlisted, my uncle came down from NGB, the National Guard Bureau, to swear me in. He sat down with me. Hi, Ariel. So he sat down with me, and we just talked about all the jobs. He kind of offered his advice, what he thought I should take. I went with it, and I've never regretted it since.
Nice, nice. And so where did you go to basic?
I went to basic at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. That is the home of the Chemical Corps.
What was that like?
Fort Leonard, Missouri is my home away from home. I absolutely love it there. The basic training area is very small. The rest of the base, it's one of the bigger bases in the Army, and it's just absolutely crazy how big it is. It's mostly woods, though, so that's why people call it Fort Lost in the Woods.
All right. Where did you go to AIT at?
I went to AIT at Fort Leonard Wood as well. Once again, Fort Leonard Wood is the home of the Chemical Corps. The Chemical Corps is the second smallest corps in the Army. The first smallest would be JAG.
And you went back, you said, when did you go?
So I went to basic training in the summer of 2009, and then I went to AIT in the summer of 2010.
Okay. So you went in the summer. Was it hot there?
It was very hot in the mornings. So before the sun came out, it was really cold. You could see your breath. And then as soon as that sun came up, it was hot.
Nice, nice. And so when you got out of basic in AIT, where did you go from there?
After I was done with basic in AIT, I went to my unit, which was the 855th Quartermaster Company up in South Bend. And from there, I started immediately as I was a private first class at the time, but I was in charge of the CBRN room.
All right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to move over to this so that we can explain CBRN. So with this video, just kind of walk us through what is actually going on.
Well, that's an explosion. That's smoke.
Very good.
Those are the new Pro Masks that are coming out. They make you look more like Darth Vader.
This is going pretty quick. So you went through all this when you were at AIT?
Yes, we went through a lot of that. So for us, they actually had a field hospital out, and the reason they do that is because you being a medic, you know if there's a chemical contaminant in the area, there's a lot different way you're supposed to treat somebody.
Correct. So just being a medic as well, we're kind of talking about this right here. This is actually a decon setup, and there's definitely going to be medics in here treating these casualties as they come through the decon lane as well. So I guarantee at least one or two of these people are medics going to be sitting on these casualties and going all the way through the decon line with them. Correct?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
Theological
Just
and
keep moving
nuclear
on.
specialists.
You said the new mask, and you're talking about these ones?
Yes. So the biggest things that the biggest thing about these masks is there is one visor. You don't have the two different eyepieces.
See this
If you look to the side, those aren't canisters anymore. They're cartridges, and they're supposed to be able to just unplug it and put in the new cartridge.
That's the old mask.
That's similar to the old mask. I think they just pulled that picture because it looked like a gas mask.
We specialized in teaching other units on how to deal with
Another thing about these
masks.
vehicles, each vehicle has a special attachment for your mask.
Occupational specialty.
So that- but
Your
there's
primary
new
responsibility
ones.
is to conduct operations.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about this. This is what is this? What are they in here?
So
Responsibility is to
There we go.
So that right there is Mop 4. If you see the tape on their arms, that tape will actually start turning different colors if there's chemicals in the environment. The way you're supposed to wear it is arm, thigh, ankle. So it's supposed to be one on your left, so left arm, right thigh, left ankle. Or you can do it the opposite way, right arm, left thigh, right ankle.
Okay, all right.
conduct operations such as CBRN, reconnaissance, surveillance, sensitive site assessment, and decontamination operations.
You have to make sure that once you're entering a contaminated environment, when you're ready to come out, that you're not bringing any of that contamination with you.
See,
What is this?
So most people don't realize, and even in the CBRN field, you don't mess with it too much. MOP goes through MOP 1 through MOP 4, but it actually goes through like MOP 8 and continues after
Okay.
that. MOP just means mission-oriented protective posture. The majority of the time, MOP 4 will suffice, but if you're in like super chemical contaminated area and you don't think that the charcoal suit's going to do it, they actually do have the hazmat suits.
Okay, yeah, this looks like a minion.
Yes,
I
it
just want to put
does.
it out there. That's all I knew, and I didn't know. I know MOP 4. That's about as far as I go.
Bringing any of that
I know
contamination.
SCBA.
CBRN specialists also operate and maintain CBRN defense and individual protective
There's
Those
the
are
old
the old
mask.
masks,
There
yes.
you go. Let's go back to that. There's the old mask.
protective equipment. Additionally, you may be responsible for providing technical advice on all CBRN operations and hazards for company and higher level organizations, including federal asset.
What is he using here? What is this thing that he's buzzing?
So that is the JCAD, Joint Chemical Agent Detector. Basically what that's going to do is they have what they call it a sniffer. It essentially smells the air. It tests the air to see if there's any chemical contaminants in the area.
Agents,
Okay.
chemical hazards, and biological hazards, and also have a strong interest in chemistry.
This career field requires individuals
too,
who are
can't see my-
interested in
my little
science,
mouse.
have strong communication skills, with the ability to plan and stay organized, and are physically and mentally fit to work calmly under pressure.
Is that mustard gas?
After successful
So, no, that was just
Army
smoke
basic
gas.
combat training,
What is
That's
this?
smoke grenade.
Wait, where is this at? What is
That's
this?
just basic training, man.
Basic training.
Yeah, so that's
Fort
for
Leonard Wood,
Leonard.
Missouri.
You operate various types of decontamination and detection equipment in preparation for defense against a chemical, biological, or nuclear attack, or radiological hazard, and how to properly maintain and wear protective equipment during exposure to toxic agents
I do have a
and
question.
hazardous materials.
So will all this stuff, will that smell meth? That could be used really well in some of our counties. Just want to throw it out there. Oh, I'm sorry. That was unprofessional. Just saying.
Hands-on exercises and we go
So, but
through
you're not wrong, because there's a branch
different
called Tech
mock
Escort,
cases.
and
The
when you
instructors here are really
hear
good
about
at
what
making
they
sure
do,
we're on the right track.
they like
GBs
bust
and stuff. I
into
feel like that's what
meth
it's
labs or
for.
other types of labs where they're
Once you have
doing a
completed
bunch
your
of
advanced
chemical
individual
testing,
training, you could
and
be
they're the guys that like,
worldwide
it's almost like
assignments.
NCIS
You will also
or
have the
NCIS.
opportunity
They
to
go
earn
around, take a bunch of
hazardous
samples, everything, and send it up.
The skills and knowledge you acquire may help you transition.
I know we have done
from
a few
the
drug
military
task
to the
force and
civilian
stuff, but
workforce. Many of
not
these
familiar with
skills
all of it.
apply to jobs within the Department of Homeland Security and federal organizations.
Such that earned as a CBRN soldier, hazmat awareness, hazmat operations, hazmat technician. I can take those certs that the civilian side recognizes and I can get a job such as transporting hazardous material or
That's
working
tech
for the
escort.
firehouse.
Test escort?
Transporting hazardous material. That's a lot of what they
Defending
do.
a country from the threat of weapons of mass destruction. Military occupational specialty, chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear specialist.
There's a lot going on right
There's the
there.
insignia.
That's your little insignia?
Yeah, well, that's
Nice.
one of them. The crest is cooler.
Impressed. All right. So I mean, we kind of went over all of it pretty quickly, but with that being said, you're now here. Why did you transition from that to becoming a recruiter?
So, when I was in the reserves, I loved my time in the reserves, but I wanted to do something a little bit more. I was trying to go active duty or even active guard reserve. Actually, it's funny because I met Sergeant First Class Price at IUSB, and I needed my college to be paid for. The FTA was not covering everything that I needed, and he kind of talked to me about it. After a while, I started asking him about the recruiting positions and how to go about that. Literally, he gave me a phone number, called that number that night. I had to drive from South Bend all the way to Valparaiso to meet with the recruiter that night, and we started doing a packet, and got 3 months later, I was on orders for recruiting.
Nice. All right, so pretty much at that point you came to recruiting. You've been how long, you said?
In recruiting?
Yeah, well, how long altogether?
I've been in 12 years. So
12 years
my first 6 was in the Army Reserves. My last 6 have been in recruiting command.
All right. So moving on, you transitioned over to recruiting from being a Seaburn. So you were able to change your job?
Oh, absolutely. It happens all the time.
All right, and you said you've been in recruiting. That's full-time?
Yes.
That's the Active Guard Reserve?
Yes, that's
All
the
right.
Active Guard Reserve.
Explain what that is to someone that doesn't know.
The AGR program is probably the best kept secret in the military. Active Guard Reserve means you're on full-time active duty orders there at home. So in the Guard, it's even better because I'm from South Bend, I live in South Bend, I recruit in South Bend. The Reserve side, when I tried to go AGR for their side, it was a little different. You get stationed somewhere every 2 or 3 years. So you're active duty, part of the reserves, and your whole job is to support the TPU soldiers, the soldiers that aren't there, are there only 1 week in a month. That's what their job is on the reserve side. And every 2 years you kind of have to go to a different reserve company, and you just get moved around quite a bit. When I switched over to the National Guard, one of the big reasons I did for AGR was because they could keep me home. I had to move to the Gary area. I lived in Valparaiso, and after about a year, they kept their promise and got me back home, recruiting in my hometown.
All right, we're trying to go to the Indiana National Guard webpage today. So we'll transfer over to that real quick, to the big screen. Boom. All right, so going on here, we're just kind of looking up. Guys, if you guys are interested in joining the National Guard or learning more about MOSs or the Indiana National Guard in general, how to join, career paths, things like that, you can always go to www.in.ng.mil. It's the National Guard main webpage. On here, you can join the Guard. You can really click on it and learn a little bit about it. Up here, there's a careers. You can always go in here, like I said, to join you here. You can learn about the referral enlistment program, which you refer someone that actually joins the National Guard, you can get paid $500 for referring someone that joins. But you can learn about different job opportunities, the current vacancies we have here in Indiana. And there's just a lot of just information for both soldiers as well as for civilians on here about what the National Guard is and what we do. So if you guys are interested in something like this, 74 Delta, the Seaburn, or 68 Whiskey, we kind of talked a little bit about that, which that's my MOS, or another MOS, that's simply all you gotta do is go in here, look up the current vacancies, and you can go in here and learn all about the different types of jobs and stuff. So there's quite a bit of information on here, and that's, like I said before, it's in.ng.mil, which is the National Guard website. So there's that. All right, last thing, do you have anything else you want to tell anyone?
Yeah, so I know a lot of people, when they're joining the military, they always have one specific job in mind. One of the best pieces of advice that I can give is choose something that you don't know much about. I chose Seaburn out on a limb. I thought it sounded cool, and it ended up being one of my favorite jobs in the military.
All right, and last thing we're going to do is, before we head out, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have a Soldier Spotlight with Marcus Long. He's going to be coming in and talking to us a little bit about what he does, what his job is, and everything. But other than that, this was Staff Sergeant Holdeman and Staff Sergeant Cole talking to you guys about Seaburn. We apologize about the Mortars. That will be Monday at 1 p.m. We're going to go live about the motor section with Staff Sergeant Chung. He just got called out. Command Sergeant Major was in town and needed to speak with him since he's a section chief. He's over there running a COVID at the he's not at the COVID-19
No, he's
testing
at the food
site.
pantry.
He's at the food pantry for the COVID-19 response force that Indiana National Guard is participating in. But definitely tune in Monday to talk with him. Tune in tomorrow to talk with Specialist Marcus Long about his experience in the National Guard. Till then, guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks.